What's up, my dudes? My name is Sister Turley, and this is the track review of the YouTube Island Resort. And where have I been, bro? I know some of you guys probably thought I completely fell off of the face of the earth for not uploading a video for about a week, but honestly, man, I've just been enjoying my summer a little bit, trying to get off the computer here and there. So I think it's very important to take breaks from YouTube every once in a while. For a lot of you smaller YouTubers out there, it's so important to do that. And really with anything in your life that you do on a daily basis, it's really important to take a break from that. And I think a lot of times it's easy to not even realize you're doing something as much as you are because you're so passionate about it and you want to be the best at whatever it is you're doing. So it's so easy to overwork and you don't realize, even though you're putting in more work, you're actually getting less out of it, because when the human brain gets overworked in something, then it no longer performs at its peak. So that's a pretty big deal when it comes to YouTube or any sort of sports, if you're trying to get better at MX Simulator, I mean anything like that. If you do it too much, it's actually hurting you in the long run because your brain is being overworked and then you can't even function properly. So I felt like a lot of times with YouTube that can start to happen when you're focused on just making daily videos and oh my gosh, what kind of video am I gonna make tomorrow, and man, I gotta make sure I make a video because I haven't made a video in like 2 or 3 days, and it can just start to catch up to you, and then before you know it, your video quality has gone down the complete poop chute, bro. Like, it's not even worth it anymore. You see what I'm saying? So very important. Just remember, anything you're doing on a daily basis or every other day or something like that, just make sure you take breaks from it and you'll actually be impressed with what will happen in the long run. And it doesn't matter what it is. So in the normal Spencer Turley fashion, here we are about 2 laps into the track and I've not said anything about the track yet. So he's got something pretty cool right here, man. I like it. What my favorite thing about this track is the fact that even though it's a lot like a Spencer Turley Hawaii vibe or a tropical vibe, it still doesn't look like any of my tracks. That's what I love about this track. Even though it has the same sort of tropical, islandy type feeling, it's still very different than any of my tracks. And the reason being is he used a lot of his own custom objects and custom decals and custom skybox and all that good stuff. So yeah, this track right here, just unbelievable. You guys can see it, all the crazy awesome elevation on this island and really cool skybox. Got some islands off in the distance, got the Titanic over there, and got some pretty crazy cool tiki torches on the side of the track, and this crazy huck it wicked jump all the way to there. I don't even know if that's worth it, man. I think you're spending like 4.5 days in the sky right there, so don't really know if it's even worth your time to jump that. But this is definitely one of those tracks that's built more for a lights bike, like a 250 or a 125, because when you're on a 450, you really have to blip the throttle and figure out exactly how fast you need to be going over some of these jumps, or you will just completely sky over them and over jump them by like 100 feet. So you got to be careful on some of them. And the track has more of a old school MX Simulator, basic beginner, I wouldn't necessarily say stock track, but I would say more like some of those really early stage AMA replica tracks on MX Simulator. That's kind of what this track feels like as far as the corners and everything. It just has those really close together big berm rut kind of things going on in the corner. And so if you're into that old school kind of feel, this is definitely your track right here. It's definitely not more of a like realistic, gritty, bumpy, ruddy. It's not that kind of track. It's more of just a simple, have fun, just look at all the scenery, bro. You know what I'm saying? So got some crazy dolphins over there jumping around, and pretty fun triple right here. It's actually smaller than it might seem, especially if you're on a 450, so just be aware of that. I think on a 125 you could pretty much hit everything wide open and it would work out perfectly. So if that makes sense, like if you're on a 450, obviously you're gonna have to let off a little bit. But yeah, so overall pretty crazy looking track, man. I think it looks pretty cool. Got some awesome bikini chicks over there, bro. Love it, dude. So yeah, it looks cool, and overall pretty well made track. And I think for the most part, it's a pretty cool, unique design, and everything looks pretty good. So I like how the fact that the jumps are still hittable on every bike. That's always a positive. I don't care what kind of track it is. I mean, yeah, it's fun to get on those crazy tracks that you can only hit on a 450 wide open with some crazy gearing, but I like tracks that just flow and everything just works no matter what kind of bike you're on, and that's kind of how this track right here feels. But you'll notice this track does have a lot of sections where it's really narrow and you don't realize it's going to be narrow like that, if that makes any sense to you guys. A lot of times if you're coming around the outside, you'll have to sweep really hard inside on that next corner, or you'll just find yourself going right off the track. So you really got to know what's going to be right after that corner you're on, or a lot of times the tracks kind of pinch up in the corner a little bit more than you expect them to, so it's easy to just kind of flow right off the track, especially if you're going really fast around these corners, because these are just really simple berm corners, so it's easy to get going crazy fast on them, and then you don't realize how the track's actually narrowed up on the next section. So you just really got to figure out what lines you're going to hit, and this track is a little bit one-lined, but I mean, what are you going to say about that? There's not really any ruts hardly. It's more just berms in the corners. Like that's basically what it's going to be anyways. So I'm going to give this track a 9 overall, and I'm going to say the difficulty is easy. So anyways, thanks for watching the video. Later, dudes.